Going on to Rome's, it's a beautiful day to take a look at Dan Parr, who, I don't know, if things go wrong in this mock draft, it might be Dan Bogey. His mock draft 1.0, lots of trades. I love a mock draft where there's trades because realistically there's going to be movement all up and down the board in every single draft, and it's good to see. And the Vikings, they get a player who I think is tailor-made for Brian Flores in South Carolina, hard-hitting safety Nick Emmanwori. Now, obviously, can Emmanwori play guard? He guards the tight ends. Or defensive line, but there's a lot of pieces that fall in place for the Vikings along the offensive and defensive line for agency. Also, is Beasley back? Does Harrison Smith retire? All that stuff is up in the air, but frankly, at a certain point, just get dudes, and Nick Emmanwori is definitely a dude. But going through this mock, Cam Ward at 1, Abdul to the Browns at 2, Travis Hunter to the Giants at 3, so they pass on a quarterback. And also he talks about the potential trade for Stafford. Then you got Will Campbell going to the Patriots, first by the Haas and by the insurance. Mason Graham to the Jaguars. Shador falling all the way to the Raiders at 6. I think that's probably the spot where Dion wants him to go. I think that the Raiders are ahead and they have a better future than the Giants at this point. Plus, I feel like Pete and Chip will get the best out of Shador, and I think Dion can respect that. Also, if it doesn't work out, Dion's just going to take the Raiders job. That's what's going to happen. Jelon Walker goes to the Jets, and Michael Williams, the Georgia edge rushers, back-to-back with the Jets and Panthers, respectively. Tet goes all the way to New Orleans. It's kind of interesting. So Tet and Olave, if he's cleared and good to go, will be solid. Membu goes to the Bears. I think this one makes sense, where Genty, yes, but Membu can play right tackle. He kick inside. Who knows what happens with right? Maybe he plays left tackle. Don't know. There's a lot of things up in the air with the Bears' offensive line. Josh Simmons going to San Francisco. I kind of like it. The estate planning there. Maybe he kicks inside to guard, but to begin, and then eventually takes over for Trent Williams, the left tackle. Genty goes to the Browns. So the if you're the Cowboys, like how do you pass up an Ashton Genty in this spot? At a certain point, maybe Jerry's just trying to run this team into the ground, but the Browns make a deal, and Genty, carrying the load. Where Nick Chubb, he's a free agent, probably not going to be back. So Genty in Cleveland, that kind of rocks. Tyler Booker goes to the Dolphins. There's 4 players that, if they're there at 24, you're not going to trade down. Tyler Booker is one. Walter Nolan is another. Kenneth Grant, the nose tackle for Michigan, is another, and then I'm really opening up on Omarion Hampton. Like, for a while, I thought that Hampton and Caleb Johnson are close. I still love Caleb Johnson, but, the more you scratch Hampton's lotto ticket, the more that you're just like, yeah, he's going to be a true blue 3-down back and just be that guy. Will Johnson falls all the way to the Colts, which, if the Vikings had more draft capital, trading up for Will Johnson, that could certainly be an interesting spot, but it wasn't meant to be. Tyler Warren to the Broncos, I hate it. It's another trade there. Loveland goes to the Chargers. He's reunited with Jim Harbaugh. Jahdae Barron goes to the Bengals. I kind of like that pick a lot. And I also think that Jahdae Barron and his versatility would be great with Flores if it came down to that. Calvin Banks goes to Seattle. Mike Green falls all the way to the Bucks. Mike Green and Kalijah Kancey, can never have enough good pass rushers. Malachi Starks goes to the Falcons. That's really good. That's really, really damn good. Starks and Jesse Bates the third on the back end of that defense with Terrell. Solid. Golden goes to the Steelers. Kenneth Grant goes to Arizona. Hate it. Shamar Stewart goes to the Packers. He's going to be really good. Reunited with Edgerrin Cooper. It's going to be fantastic. They got Nick Emmanwori with the Vikings. So like I said, if the Vikings suture up both lines, you're going to be good to go in that regard. Also still on the board is Walter Nolan, who I believe falls out of the first round in this mock. For shame. For shame, man. Also, I don't think Hampton goes in the first round either. But with Emmanwori, if the Vikings check the boxes of O-line and D-line in free agency, because you can sign for need, I think this could be a true blue BPA pick. And this is what Nick Parr wrote. With Harrison Smith ticketed for free agency, the Vikings could be in the market for a new enforcer in the secondary. Emmanwori could develop into a stud under the tutelage of Brian Flores. So no mention of Beasley being a free agent. Yeah, but Emmanwori, 6'3", 227, 3-year starter at safety for the Gamecocks, 88 tackles, 4 interceptions, 2 pick sixes last year, by the way, as well as an 86.8 PFF coverage grade, which is good. It's pretty damn good. And his scouting report from Lance Zierlein, NFL.com. NFL comp, Jeremy Chin. I wanted Jeremy Chin so bad coming out of, what was it, Southern Illinois? Salukis. Yeah, but Jeremy Chin, he of the 2 random-ass touchdowns against the Vikings. Was it 2020? Yeah. Overview. The assessment of Emmanwori's tape could depend on which games you watch. He's a physical specimen with rare size and outstanding speed, but he doesn't always play with a first-to-the-action mentality and run support. When he gets it cranked up, he becomes a much more effective tackler and overall run stopper from sideline to sideline. He's capable of playing over the top, inside the box, or even matching up a pass-catching tight ends. He's upright with average transition fluidity and coverage, but he has a great recovery speed and uses his length to throw a blanket over the catch point. He has NFL traits and talent, so a boost in urgency could take him from a good starter to a great one. So all the tools are there, and I do think that Flores could get the best out of him, especially with Durante Jones if he remains as DB coach. But Emmanwori on the back end of that defense, you got 6'3" Bob Sanders, man. Like, he can certainly bring the hammer. He's got great range, and he will bring a physicality to the Vikings defense, and it would be really, really good to have him here. Igbuka goes to the Texans. LB3 goes to the Rams as they try to replace Cooper Kupp. Donovan Jackson goes to the Ravens. That's a good pick. Hottie Campbell goes to Detroit as they try to suture up that off-ball room. Also, you can play on the edge a little bit. Connerly goes to the Commies, trying to get together that offensive line, especially since Sam Cosmi may not be ready to go to start the season. Donovan goes to the Bills. Derek Hammond goes to the Chiefs as they start the succession plan for Chris Jones. James Pierce Jr. Why not? Just another pass rushing piece for the Eagles, just sitting at 32, chilling, just like how he does it again. I hate it, man. But the Vikings take Emmanwori at 24. Again, it's kind of surprising that Nolan falls out of the first round, but overall, like, Emmanwori can bring it, man. Like, he's a playmaker, he's a hard hitter, and he definitely would set the tone on the back end of that Flores defense. Wouldn't mind this pick at all if the Vikings check some other boxes in free agency. But your thoughts are thoughts. Vikings land a Flores dream safety in South Carolina's Nick Emmanwori in NFL.com's latest 7-round mock draft. Let us know your thoughts, our thoughts, comment section. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skol. Production value.